What's up, you guys? Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Beat Curry podcast. A fun filled, relaxed, and a very honest musical conversation that I had on this podcast. This episode features these two immensely talented musicians, Eeshan Tripathi and Kaushik Ramachandran. Eeshan, a virtuoso pianist, composer, keyboardist, producer, and Kaushik, a fabulous vocalist, producer, and lyricist. They recently started their own music duo, Eeshan Kaushik, and launched their very first single that's titled Khoye Pal, a brilliant and a one of its kind music video that brings to life the vastness and the beauty of nature. To be very specific, the magnificent Spiti Valley. A completely out of the box and an experimental music duo from Mumbai, I am immensely thrilled to invite all of you to join me on this episode as I try to understand more about their thought process and their intent of making such music videos. More about their new single, Khoye Pal, and a lot more stuff for you guys. So, make sure you check out this extended episode and check out the time-wise chapters from the descriptions below. Presenting to you all, Eeshan Kaushik on the Beat Curry podcast. Stay tuned, sit back, and enjoy this beautiful conversation. Ishan and Kaushik, thank you so much for taking out your time for this episode. And it is an immense honor to actually speak to you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
both
so
of
much.
us.
Thank you so much, Yash. It's a pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you for having us. हम लोग से कोई बात करता नहीं, आप ही बात कर रहे हो अभी तो खुश हो रहे हैं हम लोग.
We're glad to be here. You and I being from Bombay, and Kaushik is responding to us from Himachal right now.
Yeah, I am in Gaza right now. As you can see, the clouds, the background behind me, the hand getting, this ये जो हो रहा है उसके ऊपर ध्यान मत देना. मैं एक्चुअली वही हूँ जहाँ मेरे पीछे जो है मैं वही हूँ. उसी के सामने से खुली हवा में टॉप स्पीड वाईफाई मिल रहा है मेरे को यहाँ काजा में.
Yeah, actually
That is pretty rare, by the way.
Oh yeah, very rare. Never happens.
Very rare in Kaza.
I am doing it. I am somehow
Nice.
making this happen. Just
wonderful.
kidding,
I
guys.
think special thanks to Kaushik for doing that for us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Firstly, congratulations on your very beautiful release of Khoye Pal
Hey, thank
and
you.
the
Thank you.
marvelous amount of response that it is getting. And also for the people who are watching it, it got featured and received appreciation from the official accounts of Royal Enfield. So I think it's a
Yeah.
huge thing. I mean, let's just clap for it first of all.
Thank you so
Hey,
much.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
thank you so
Thanks a
much.
lot.
The whole genesis of Eeshan and Kaushik. When did you guys think that it's time for us to come together and create a collective of this kind? And what were those jam room conversations? What were those studio conversations that you had? And you said that, bam, we should get into this. We should do something of this kind.
Yeah, so I think back in 2016, Ishan had come down with his band, Aditya Narayan and the A-Team, at my studio, Benchmark Studios in Thane. And they were there for a rehearsal. And I saw, that was the first time I saw Ishan play, frankly. And I was blown.
Right.
And I was like, ऐसे कौन बजाता है भाई? मतलब ये बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया. So like it was intriguing right from the get go कि यार इस musician के साथ तो collaborate करना बनता है. मतलब पता नहीं मेरी औकात है कि नहीं, but बनता तो है. हाँ, तो I think a few months down the line, I have another project called Rahul Kaushik. We are changing the name, that's a different thing, but with Rahul we did a first song called Pehchan, and when we were doing that song and when the song was being produced, me and Rahul both instantly knew that Ishan's sensibilities need to come in. वी डिडंट नो कि कितना क्या होने वाला है करके. हम लोग ने बस उसको गाना सुना है. गाना सुन के ईशान रियली लाइक्ड इट. ईशान वाज लाइक वाओ दिस इज इट्स अ ग्रेट सॉन्ग, लेट मी कम ऑन बोर्ड. And he came on board, and the first few, I mean, I would say, after a few days, Eeshan like sends us like some 17 to 20 tracks for the first 3 minutes of the song. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
What? Yeah, for the first 3 minutes, there's 17 tracks, and हम लोग ने बोला ये क्या भेजा है भाई ईशान ने, सुनना पड़ेगा बैठ के. We just placed it on the first 3 minutes of the song and we started listening to it. And me and Rahul were like, we were blown to smithereens. मतलब ये क्या कर रही है ये बंदे ने, मतलब कितना मतलब भरा है अंदर कि वो फूट फूट के बाहर निकलने की कोशिश कर रहा है. And that's how it started, the initial collaboration.
The whole charm of collaboration in general is a very exciting idea in itself, because you are stepping away from your room, your thought process. You have to blend in and you have to pause your emotions to see what the other guy has to say. It's like a conversation, what we three are doing right now. And collaboration is something that I've realized over the period of time that it's been the biggest learning. Besides, like Yash, you're a classically trained musician yourself. Kaushik, in fact, is fabulous, and in fact, he's a self-trained musician. So. But a lot of times, our learnings, our teaching, it's still self-governed unless a collaboration happens, the learning expands. So I think when this very track that Kaushik is talking about, when that happened in 2016, it's again a very different style of, it was a very different headspace of songwriting, which both Kaushik was getting deeper into. And I was fortunate, I met him a couple of times in the studio at Benchmark itself. And there was a time when, unfortunately, Aditya's jam got cancelled, and I was there, and I was like, man, let's just chill. Why don't you just come? And Kaushik was like, yeah, it's his studio anyway. So he entered the booth, and then he started.
Eeshan gave me permission to come into my own studio.
Yeah. So he entered the booth, and then he started playing some of his songs, and I was like, man, let's just sing it out. It was a very different style of songwriting, and I think those were the time, and he was penning his thoughts for Paradigm's second album. It was completely mesmerizing, because the musicality of the band versus what he comes up with, it's a very nice blend. And I was like, man, this is really interesting, and there should be something that should be done about it. And I think then he moved on with his life, I went ahead with my stuff. I think it was the time of 2018 wherein I was starting to feel this urge of writing different style of music, different style of songs. And I was already doing stuff with Aditya. I was doing some of my own work with this fellow friend of mine named Milton. But I was like, man, I remembered his work. I remember what he's capable of and what incredible stuff that he keeps producing. I was like, man, there is a void in me, and I need to fill that vacuum somehow, and let me see if Kaushik is free to write songs, because there's obviously a lot on his plate all the time. And then I wasn't too sure whether he'll be open to a new project and then exploring it out completely. And I met him. I think I gave him a call, and then he was like, man, let's just write songs together. He's like, yeah, why not? And I think the day we met was the 9th of April 2018. The reason why we both remember that date is because that was the first time we started jamming. That was the first time we started penning ideas for Khoye Pal, and Khoye Pal was called 9th of April. So we remember.
For a very long time, Khoye Pal was called 9th of April. Like its initial versions were called 9th of April. Initial productions version were called 9th of April for a very long time. And then once I started penning real lyrics, we just didn't name it. And frankly speaking, if you look at the lyrics, there is no place in the lyrics where Khoye and Pal come together. They come in the lyrics in a different section, but they didn't come together. So I didn't have a song name per se. And we stuck to 9th of April. The lyrics were written, but then Eeshan is like, 9th of April कितने दिन तक बुलाते बैठेंगे बे, कुछ तो मतलब नाम देते यार इसको, ये क्या 9th of April क्या आता है. I बोला हाँ, makes sense. So that's when Khoye Pal kind of came from within. I'm like, okay, let's name it Khoye Pal. And that's how the first song started, collaboration wise, for me and Eeshan. And I think there was no looking back. For the next 2 years, we knocked like 4-5 songs out. We collaborated on 4-5 songs, and we made 4 songs, and a few more making music is an addiction, right? Like, frankly, for me, it's an addiction. I'm sure it's an addiction for Eeshan as well. Like, I thrive on it. I get off on it. And for me, it's extremely important to keep making music and to have the opportunity to make music with such seasoned musicians like Eeshan himself. It's just a blessing in disguise, a icing on the cake. मतलब कंपोज करना आता है, उसके साथ इतना एक तगड़ा म्यूजिशियन मिल गया, मतलब और क्या चाहिए क्या तुम्हें? So then we didn't stop, and he just started throwing ideas that he had already produced, worked on, and then the next song happened, then the next song happened, then the next song happened, and then and we have still like four ideas, 2 ideas of his, 2 ideas of mine that we have pitched it to each other that we haven't even touched.
Right.
So that's 4 songs that we have already worked on and almost ready, and 4 new songs that we haven't even touched. So there are 8 songs already in the 2 years that we have been composing together.
Damn,
So
nice.
it clearly shows that I mean, the chemistry that me and Eeshan bring together when we compose. Because
Right.
I have been working with composers and musicians for a long time, right? So, and Eeshan comes from a very different kind of a season of musicians, the pedigree of musicians,
Right.
I can say. And the thing that sets, I think, Eeshan Kaushik apart and me apart in Eeshan Kaushik, because I've been composing for so long, and people generally do
Sure.
find similarity. If I'm composing with Paradigm, then it should sound Paradigm.
Should
Even if
sound
it is
like Paradigm.
me, it should sound Paradigm. And if it is an Eeshan Kaushik, then it should sound Eeshan Kaushik. It can't sound Paradigm. It can sound me. That's no problem. It'll end up sounding me only.
Absolutely.
See, that can't be changed. But the style, the approach, the entire methodology, the ideology, everything has to change from the get-go with Eeshan. And be it with Rahul as well, be it with Paradigm as well, be it with any composer that I collaborate. But with Eeshan, what sets us apart is, I guess, the way he pushes me. मतलब, he'll never... Like, I've never seen Eeshan कि मैं पहला मेलोडी कंपोज कर दिया है, उसको अच्छा लगेगा. मतलब, if you're jamming, वो कुछ प्ले कर रहा है and मैंने कुछ कंपोज किया and he's like, yeah, that's good, man. But चल, let's flesh it out. And that's the
Yes,
beauty of
yes.
composing with Eeshan. Like, he'll have you flesh out the melody to a point where there is no room to flesh the melody out anymore. So that's the beauty,
Absolutely.
I think, and that's why our songs stand apart. And frankly speaking, when you are in a duo or in a kind of a collaborative environment where you're actually creating something, then people may call this gay, but you are married in some or the other way, right? You are
Absolutely,
married.
absolutely.
Because of your art, you are married. So you need to have that vulnerability completely shown to him. So I am completely vulnerable.
Correct.
He knows everything about me. मतलब मैं खुला छोड़ देता है. मतलब जो भी है उसको सब कुछ मालूम है. जो वो है उसको मेरे को सब कुछ मालूम है. That's the beauty, and that's, I think, that
Correct.
comes out extremely well when we write, because we both just lay ourselves out there, our emotions out there. It's just raw emotions out there, and it's just great.
Absolutely. I think as you mentioned that, while you're composing and Eeshan being the musician who he is, he tries to flesh out the best version of you.
Best, yeah.
In a way, I would really like to say that for all the viewers who have kind of subscribed to your music, who are staying tuned to your music, they have a lot in stuff, to listen to in the near future.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely,
for sure,
absolutely,
for sure.
absolutely,
There's
absolutely.
going to be a lot
Some
of
crazy songs
interesting
coming
stuff.
up.
Something that all of us are eagerly waiting for is to know more about Eeshan Kaushik's debut single, Khoye Pal. For the ones who have seen it, you guys know what we are talking about. But well, for the ones who haven't seen it yet, here's your chance to watch this video and dive into the beauty and the serenity of nature. A one-of-its-kind music video that was shot in the magnificent Spiti Valley. Can you guys imagine it? Imagine composing music in such kind of an environment, seeing nature through the eyes of a musician and bringing such visuals to life. What would it sound? How would it be like? That's what Khoye Pal is all about. Let's check it out. what was your thought behind Khoye Pal? What was the whole phase that you went through while composing something of this kind?
I think when we started jamming that day, I mean, we didn't really think कि हम यहाँ रहने वाले हैं. ये जो मेरे पीछे जो बैकग्राउंड है ना, ये मेरे एक्चुअली फोटो से, मेरे फ़ोन से खींचा है मैंने ये फ़ोटो जो मेरे पीछे, जो मैंने अभी बैकग्राउंड करके लोड किया है. हम लोग ने कभी इमेजिन नहीं किया था कि हम यहाँ रहने वाले. 9 अप्रैल 2018 को अगर मेरे को कोई बोलता कि भाई तू जो ये गाना कंपोज कर रहा है तू यहाँ जाने वाला है, तो मैं उसके मुंह पे हंस देता, फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग. बिकॉज हम लोग के दिमाग में कुछ नहीं था. We were blank. It was a blank slate. Eeshan just started playing. The chords were beautiful. The notes were amazing. And I was just, मतलब वो melancholy ही घूम रहा था मेरे अंदर. And when I started writing, I mean, it was just like the way the song was progressing. कहीं ना कहीं हम दोनों के अंदर ये बात फिक्स हो गई थी कि भाई ये ट्रैवल सॉन्ग है, कि बहुत ट्रैवल वाइब आ रहा है. मतलब भाई जब लोग गाड़ी चलाते वक्त या बाइक चलाते वक्त ये गाना अगर सुनेंगे तो लोगों को मज़ा आएगा. बिकॉज इट हैड दैट ग्रूव, इट हैड दैट वाइब, इट हैड दैट स्पेस, हेड स्पेस. बट स्टिल वी हैड नो क्लू दैट दिस वाज गोइंग टू हैपन.
I think that's the fun. I guess, Yash, because when you're in the process of crafting a song, when you're in the process of designing the song, writing the song, isn't that the fun? Because here's the beauty of music, and I think that's what I get hooked on to, and I guess all of us hooked on to, is you don't know where the ideas come from, and you don't know where it's supposed to go. Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Right.
It's so exciting.
That's what gets you
till
going.
Date, it's the till date it's the bloody thing that gives me that blood rush, that goosebumps. How did this happen? What were we thinking, and what made this change happen? See, one thing was very clear, that somewhere I think, and this is a very unspoken logic between me and Kaushik, that there is a lot of music in the market. Let's face it today, man. There is a lot of content today. There is access. I mean, you switch on your phone, connect to iTunes, Spotify, Gaana, Saavn, whatever. There is almost over 50 million songs that you have access to on your fingertips instantly. So why would somebody come to us? It's a very important question. Somewhere as artists, we don't want to answer it, because they're like, hey man, it's a song, it's my art, whatever you want to call it, it's okay.
Yeah.
But the minute you get into it deeper and you start to answering questions like, if I'm doing this, what is it that I'm trying to trigger in the listener? For me personally, and I think even Kaushik somewhere connects with it, I've seen that in him, any form of music, any form of art has to trigger an experience. Now, that trigger could be something which is very dark. That trigger could be something which is very emotional. It kind of remind you of your past memories of your college days or whatever. It could be something that someone you love. In this case, it became a travel song. It became a travel-centric song, and we were like, man, if we have to make it the most interesting travel song, how do we make it happen? How do we start working things around it? And from the songwriting point of view, things at the early stage were, I wouldn't say that we were right there from the start. It went through a lot of changes, because ideas happened, the production happened, his words happened, and I got his scratch vocal files, and then we still kept building on. And then Milton, who played the guitars, Bispreet played the bass, and then it was all on a very programmed rhythm section. And then I think with time we moved on to our second song. It was still there as we somewhere felt that okay, we are done with Khoye Pal. We somewhere felt that okay, you know what, we are done with Khoye Pal. Let's just move on. Let's just keep stacking songs. Back then, I think in 2019, none of us, nor him nor me, had that mentality that we should do something interesting to push this song or push any song further, because we were still figuring a lot of aspects about each other as composers. We were still figuring as to, okay, what is it that inspires him? What is it as a matter of story that can be interesting for both of us to cover as songwriters? I mean, if we're doing this, there needs to be a certain purpose for why is it happening. It doesn't make sense. I mean, he's anyway writing some brilliant songs with Paradigm. He's writing some great songs with Rahul. I'm doing some work with Aditya Narayan. There is that hunger of live performance plus studio stuff that's happening. But if this duo has come together, there needs to be a very legitimate, beautiful, horny, something that blows our mind out. Like, hey man, this is something I would always love to have on my playlist. And how exciting can it be for both of us to have it in our house, or it's something that's playing in the background, or something that if he goes on a road trip, he would want to play this song. Not that it's written by him, but as a matter of fact, that's the kind of music we would want to bring out, because somewhere we feel there is a vacuum
Absolutely.
for this style of songwriting, this style of cinematic visuals that we're trying to present to the listeners. And in 2019,
Right.
when both of us moved on to like writing some new, like I think we started writing Karma. That was the second song that we started writing, and we had spoken to this very cool friend of ours. His name is Lindsay DeMello. He's also known as DCF. He has a drum and bass group, and we decided, like, how about we call him, because the second song demanded that style of drumming for that song. And he came in and he recorded that
Right.
song, and then we played him Khoye Pal, and we were like, man, we're kind of confused what to do with this song. We're not very sure where it's going. You want to give this a shot, and like, you want to just try your hand on this? And I think it was 25 minutes where he nailed the whole damn song. And it was 2-3 takes, he nailed the whole song, and then we were
Damn.
done. And then yet again the song went back
Oh my
onto the
God.
shelf, and we went on with our life. We went on with our work, and then I think it was again mid of 2019 where Kaushik and I went on with this discussion. Man, it's time, let's release something. I mean, we came together in 2018, let's release some
Correct.
song. And then but then we ended up answering very vital questions towards each other, that hey man, if we're doing this, what is the agenda of this thing? Why are we doing it? Which we realized that we both want to be composers, we both want to score for films. So then our idea was like, how about
Correct.
we treat each song as if it's a soundtrack for a hypothetical film? And that became the core of what we both
Absolutely.
are here for. And
Yeah.
that's the gist. I mean, that's the gist, that if each song of ours can be a situation of a film. Now, a film has different scenarios. It may not always be a travel-centric film. It can be anything. But I was like,
Sure.
man, if that
Yes.
becomes a source of inspiration, if that becomes the area of interest, how about we derive ideas from that, use that as a source of inspiration for your own song, and make melodies around it, make sonic structures,
beautiful,
sonic
beautiful.
spectra around it, and keep moving on with it.
Even something that I would like to add, that you mentioned when it came to the whole composition part of Khoye Pal, that you gave it the time to grow. Somewhere, it's the disconnect that helps you get the connect once again. Like, you stay away from it,
Yeah,
and
sure.
you keep falling for it. You keep realizing that yes, I need to get back to it, rather than always
Yeah,
staying on it,
absolutely.
and you might not see a progress. So
That's
I
a very
really
big
felt that
point,
it was a
yeah.
Absolutely,
great way to
Very
start.
good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Distance brings in desires,
Absolutely.
That's the thing, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
minute distance happened, let's face it, why wouldn't someone like both Kaushik and I why wouldn't we be tempted to put our song out immediately? We are done, the mixing is done, the mastering is done, let's get it out.
Correct.
Let's get it out immediately.
Correct.
But that that pause that has to happen, it is tough. Let me be honest there also, and I'm sure Kaushik has a very good point of view here, because it's not easy to hold something that you're almost you're done with it. Hey, what is the best that you can do? But if you just
Correct,
closely observe
correct,
and get that mountaintop perspective, that hey man, there is something that you can do as far as the visuals are concerned. There is something that you can do in terms of making sure that the song reaches out to people just exactly the way you guys are perceiving things in your head. When you're inside your room, when you're inside in the comfort of the four
Absolutely.
walls, you can think of anything. You can think of anything that you want to do. You can think of like going to the mountains. You can think of going right in the middle of the sea. But the minute you start seeing what you were imagining right in front of you, I think that was the biggest high we both ever got. The minute the visuals were starting to happen for the song.
Absolutely. I think, for the viewers who have been into a whole journey of experiencing this place and going through so many breathtaking visuals, I really, really want to know it from you guys that, like, what did it take for you to shoot something of this kind? What was the whole production set like? I'm sure you need so much of preparation and so much of readiness to do something of this kind, because it's not a set already which is there.
Yeah.
So if you'd want to
Yeah,
throw
so-
light on that.
Yeah, to answer your question, Yash, we weren't prepared at all. There was no production set.
There was no P of
There was no-
preparation.
There was no preparation, there was no production set. The total crew, including
God.
me and Eeshan, including the actor, was 7 people.
Oh my god! And you guys pulled off such a great music
you
video.
you deduct 3 people out of this, which is the actor and Eeshan and me, which makes it just 4 people.
Yes.
From these 4 people, one was the
4.
director, one was a DOP, one was the editor, and one was a line producer. That's it.
Oh my
And we shot
God.
this across 7 days. And we were told, we were warned कि Spiti is dangerous, Spiti is going to throw, it's the weather is really going to be bad and the roads are going to be bad, and like हम बम्बई के लोग हैं यार, roads bad होते हैं तो हम लोग को लगता है कि एक pothole आ गया, एक रोड का रास्ता खराब हो गया, या थोड़ा सा gravel section आ गया, रास्ता खराब हो गया. But when we went there is when we actually realized road खराब होना मतलब road खराब नहीं है, वो road ही नहीं है वहाँ पे.
That's so true. There is no road. The concept
अबे
of
road
road
ही
doesn't
नहीं है.
exist.
गाड़ी जाके रास्ता बन गया वहाँ पे. वहाँ पे एक टाइम पे पहाड़ हुआ करता था, उस पे गाड़ियाँ जा रही थी और वहाँ पे एक रास्ता बन गया. बस ये है स्पीति, मतलब ये है काजा का जर्नी.
My
But Kaza, when you reach Kaza, it's pretty much like great. Like there are roads and all that, but there's no internet.
Right.
There's nothing. There's no phone service as well. We were completely disconnected. That was the beauty of that whole trip. मतलब 4 दिन के लिए भाई किसी से बात नहीं हो रही है. मतलब हो भी रही है तो एक BSNL फोन है जो 7 लोग के बीच में घूम रहा है, और वो भी किसका फोन है मालूम है? हमारे ड्राइवर का फोन है.
Yeah, we have to ask from a local, like, hey, can you lend us your phone?
हमें जो ड्राइव अराउंड कर रहा था,
My God.
मनाली टू काजा टू मनाली, हमें जो ड्राइव कर रहा था, उस बंदे का फोन हम लेके बैठे थे और हम कॉल कर रहे थे लोगों को. So to shed light on
Be safe.
how
We are safe right now.
हाँ बस
Be
that's
safe.
all. हाँ बस हम जिंदा हैं, आएंगे जिंदा वापस पहुंचेंगे, बस ये कहानी सुना देते थे और रख देते थे फोन. But frankly,
Correct.
me and
My
like
God.
me, it was not just me and Eeshan, but everybody in the crew, every single person had no idea what was going to happen. मतलब हम लोग तो ऐसे, और वैसे भी देखो पूरा वीडियो दिन में शूट हुआ है, मतलब सिर्फ रात के टाइम लैप्सेस छोड़ के
Correct.
पूरा सब दिन में शूट हुआ है. दिन में शूट हुआ इसका मतलब हम नेचुरल लाइट पे डिपेंड कर रहे हैं. अगर नेचुरल लाइट पे डिपेंड कर रहे हैं इसका मतलब नेचुरल लाइट होने की ज़रूरत है. इसका मतलब क्लाउड आ गए तो सत्यानाश हो गया हमारा. और ये
Correct.
बेचारा वरुण और ये आदि और आदित्य सांखे और ध्रुव और कल्पेश, ये लोग सब मतलब एक लोकेशन पहुंचते थे, कैमरा वैमरा लगा के सब सेट होते थे, मजा आता था. ये लोग बोलते थे एक्शन, बारिश चालू. फिर क्योंकि वो लोग वैली में है, उन लोगों को दूर दिख रहा है कि वहाँ धूप है. इट्स जस्ट स्ट्रेट वैली, राइट? यू कैन सी टिल क्वाइट फार अवे. और यहाँ बारिश हो रही है, वहाँ धूप है, तो ये लोग भाग के गाड़ी में बैठते थे, भगा के जाते थे जहाँ धूप है. इनका नसीब फूटा हुआ, वो क्लाउड फॉलो करता था इनको कि कहाँ जा रहा है भाई, आई एम नॉट डन, मैं अभी भी, मेरे को बारिश करनी है तुम पर. वो क्लाउड फॉलो करता था उनको. वहां जाके ये लोग दरवाजा खोलते थे, कैमरा लगा देते थे, वापस बारिश. एंड वरुण वॉज एडमेंट, द डायरेक्टर, ही वॉज एडमेंट दैट एक्सेप्ट फॉर ध्रुव and for those 3 seconds me and Eeshan, nobody should be visible in the video, not even a single car, not even a single animal. हम तीनों लोग के अलावा उस वीडियो में कोई दिखना नहीं. वो और एक चैलेंज उसने अपने सर पे ले लिया. तो इसका मतलब ये है कि वो जब ड्रोन, एंड यू विल सी दैट देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ ड्रोन शॉट्स, एंड शूटिंग ड्रोन शॉट्स फ्रॉम दैट लॉन्गर डिस्टेंस एंड मेकिंग श्योर देयर इज नो अदर कार पासिंग यू, यू नीड पेशेंस फॉर दिस. ये लोग 1-1, 1.5 घंटा रुक जाते थे ऐसे, कुछ काम नहीं है, क्योंकि ड्रोन उड़ चुका है, गाड़ियाँ जा रही है यहाँ वहाँ. अब जैसे उनको दिखता था कि दूर तक गाड़ी नहीं दिख रही है, यहाँ भी गाड़ी नहीं दिख रही है, वो लोग बोलते थे चलो यार ख़त्म करो, शूट करो. ध्रुव बेचारा बाइक पे बैठता था और भगाता था बाइक, और ड्रोन उड़ता था, फॉलो करता था, शॉट मिलता था, हम लोग शॉट ले लेते थे. So it wasn't easy at all, like not even a single day. Like I'm sure हमने तो मैंने और ईशान ने फिर भी काफ़ी कंफर्ट देखा. वरुण, आदि, आदित्य, उन लोग ने तो इससे हॉरेंडस कंडीशंस हमारे, क्योंकि हमारे से 2 दिन पहले निकल गए थे.
Yeah, it was just a lot of pressure on them, no doubt.
और वेदर इतना फालतू कि ड्रोन जा रहा है भाई, ड्रोन जा रहा है, मतलब जा रहा है, मतलब ड्रोन चला गया, ड्रोन बोला मैसेज आ गया.
Flying the drone in such a risky weather was becoming a problem because they would fly it off and a gush of wind would come in and the drone is gone. We would lose the drone.
And
so
they
would think
would,
that, man, all the footage is gone.
Yeah, and sometimes the drone's battery would really come down and the drone would send a message to your phone ki boss, bye, I'm not coming back, I'm going to land myself somewhere and I'm going to start throwing my GPS signal to you, come find me. ऐसा हमारे सामने, आंखों के सामने वो ड्रोन जाते हुए दिख रहा है दूसरे वैली की तरफ. मेरे बोला भाई 45-50 हज़ार का ड्रोन जा रहा है भाई, क्या हो रहा है. एंड ये लोग भागे गाड़ी. तो मतलब शूट के बीच में ये सब मस्ती भी हो रही है और ये uncalled for it. In any shoot, all these tiny situations, tiny problems that kept piling up every corner, every turn was just ridiculous. कुछ भी हो रहा था. वो बाबा शॉट लेने के लिए 2 घंटा लगा हम लोग को 3 सेकंड के शॉट के लिए. क्यों? क्योंकि गाड़ियाँ आ रही जा रही हैं. हम लोग ने एक टर्न पे लिया था. कुछ गाड़ियाँ आ रही जा रही है, कैमरा दिख गया उन लोग को, वो लोग साइड में रख के उतर के आ गए फोटो लेने के लिए हमारे साथ. हम लोग उन लोगों को लगा असली बाबा है. मैंने बोला ये बढ़िया है.
There were a lot of Firans who were hitchhiking. They were like, oh, finally we found the mountain babas, and we both looked at each other. We were like, what is
हमने लेने दे भाई, फोटो लेने दे.
We were like, let's just stay in character. Let's just behave like babas.
अरे वो कोई urgent कुछ तो recover होता.
But Yash, I think the biggest catch, besides us writing the song, and then when Varun came on board, the director, and then with his set of people came on board. And we're actually blessed in a way that we found the right set of people, because you need just the right set of people to make certain things happen. I mean, sometimes even Kaushik and I discuss that, man. Absolutely. I mean, if we did not have someone like Varun, if we did not have someone like Dhruv, the kind of terrain that Spiti had, the kind of tension that was being created in Spiti, the kind of problems we had to go through, it's very hard to believe that somebody else could have pulled it off so smoothly. Like, yes, we're all going through problems. Yes, there are different kind of issues happening, but everybody was dealing it on an independent level. It would never be like, hey, you know what? It would come to us. It would come to Varun. No, it was independently dealt by everyone, because there was this understanding of, this is my responsibility, this is my role. Let me smoothen it up, because it'll be smooth enough for the team.
Right.
It'll become smooth for the guys. It'll become smooth for everyone to make this thing happen. We were running. I think it's very rightly said by someone, I don't know who quoted this, but he was genius enough to make this statement, that to make a good song, you need a good story, you need a good melody, and you need a very tight budget, and you need a deadline. And I think this is just perfect.
Correct.
Tight budget, tight deadline, let's make it happen. What can we do? Man, we're not like, we don't have swanky backing, we don't have some, like Kaushik mentioned about the crew, we did not have any of those facilities. We were like, we're here to make this happen. Let's see what's the best that we can do with the limited resources that we have. And I think we'd gone in the month of October.
Absolutely.
September end, October start.
September end, October.
So it's a transition period.
The risky time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Basically rains leave
period.
And winters kind of come in. So the entire valley kind of acts like a wind tunnel. So एक ही साथ तीनों weather देखने मिलता है वहाँ पे.
But like seeing this in front of your eyes and seeing this for the song that you wrote in your room, yeah, exactly, life changing. We didn't tell you this, but the ground reality was that when we approached Varun with the song, our mind was that how about we go to Lonavala?
हाँ, हम लोग छोटे हिल पे शूट करने का सोच रहे थे. माउंटेन दिमाग में आया भी नहीं था. हम लोग बोले हिल पे शूट.
We were like, hey, nature, Lonavala, it's close. It's going to be a cool drive. We can take like Kaushik as a car, I'll have a car. We'll take the crew. We'll go. We'll have fun. We'll come back. And Varun was like, Eeshan, if it's Lonavala, I'm not up for this project at all. I'm not up for it.
करना है तो जाएंगे भाई, स्पीति नहीं तो नहीं कर रहे.
And when he told us it was Spiti, and then he showed us shots, like he had some stock shots of Spiti. He was just trying to like give us a justification, the perfections that Varun is. He just wanted to show us that why is he thinking of Spiti. And when we saw the shots, oh my god.
हाँ मतलब मुंह खुल गया. मैंने बोला ऐसी जगह होती है इंडिया में.
मैं भी पहले कभी नहीं गया हूँ. So
मतलब हम लोग पहली बार हिमाचल जा रहे हैं और वहाँ एंजॉय करने नहीं जा रहे. मतलब हमने एंजॉय किया. मैं हमने ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि हमने चिल नहीं किया. चिल करने का जब टाइम मिला तब चिल किया. वी एंजॉयड. बट there was this mounting pressure every minute of what the hell is going to happen with this video, because someone was getting hurt, somebody was falling down, something or the other was going wrong. Every time these guys went for shoot and came back, 10,000 complaints लेके वरुण बैठेगा हमारे सामने कि ये this went wrong, this went wrong, this went wrong, this went wrong.
The tire exploded. The car tire exploded.
Three times. By the way, the car that we rented.
Oh my god.
The car that we rented, me and Eeshan rented from Delhi to Manali and onwards to Spiti and back to Manali and then Delhi, never came back to even Manali. Yeah. We had to abandon that car.
Oh my god.
We had to abandon that car in the night at 10:30 outside Kullu somewhere on the highway, where we were like, अभी मनाली पहुंचना है, अगले दिन निकल के दिल्ली पहुंचना है. भाई गाड़ी नहीं चल रही, इंजन ऑयल पूरा लीक हो चुका है. And it was raining. I'm like, क्यों हमारे साथ ही नसीब क्यों फूट रहा है रोज. मतलब ये कब खत्म होने वाला है. और ख़त्म ही नहीं हुआ. मतलब मैं बता रहा हूँ वो फ्लाइट तक ख़त्म नहीं हुआ. फ्लाइट तक चैलेंज था. रास्ते पे कांच का बियर का बॉटल पड़ा था, उसके ऊपर गाड़ी चढ़ गई, टायर पंचर हो गया हमारा. तो वो टायर चेंज करने में टाइम लग गया. तो ये हम लोग दिल्ली थोड़ा लेट पहुँच रहे. और दिल्ली पहुँचने के 1 घंटे पहले हमारा ड्राइवर झपकी मार रहा व्हील पे. तो ध्रुव डर गया. हम लोग बोला भाई गाड़ी साइड में रोको, मैं चलाता हूँ. ये सब हो रहा है. 1:45 को हम लोग को गेट पे पहुँचने का है. 1:35 हम लोग एयरपोर्ट के बाहर है.
My god.
It was that close. And me and Eeshan we couldn't take it all in till the flight took off, you know. हम लोग एक तो aisle seat लिया हम लोग ने, और जैसे ही flight take off किया हम लोग दोनों melt हो गए सीट के अंदर. कि भाई
like these 2 hours of the flight travel have been the most peaceful flight travel ever. Delhi Bombay flight चली है.
मतलब माफ करो हमको. अब हम स्पीति जाएंगे तो भाई मई में जाएंगे, वो भी चिल मार. नहीं तो नहीं जा रहे स्पीति.
Not in September and October.
और गलती से भी हमने जो गाड़ी बुक की थी वो तो बिल्कुल नहीं बुक करेंगे. और हम लोग तो गाड़ी से जाएंगे भी नहीं. हम लोग लेह लद्दाख जाएंगे, सीधा लेह में उतरेंगे फ्लाइट से, वहां से गाड़ी लेके स्पीति आएंगे.
That's a wise call.
या नहीं बाबा, हाथ जोड़ लिया मैंने, हाथ जोड़ लिया.
Oh man.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, what you see is a completely different story, and it's the genius.
I think that's the beauty of it.
Sankhe, Aditya, Kalpesh, exactly. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
कि पीछे क्या मारामारी हुई है, कितना सर फूटा है, कितनी गालियां दी हैं, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता, क्योंकि वीडियो उतना खूबसूरत है.
क्या बात है. It's so well put, and you kind of you gave us a whole idea of, you know, what really it takes to create something of this kind.
Especially when you don't have a production value.
क्या हो सकता है.
Especially when you don't have a backing. Especially if it's just these 7 लोगों का जिद है. जब 7 लोगों का जिद होता है तो कुछ भी कर लेते हैं. हम लोग तो चले गए बस. I think ये 7 लोगों का जिद ही था कि हमने.
I agree with Kaushik. Yeah, it was that zid of just making it happen. Let's just make it happen.
Yeah, the end shot is ridiculous.
Shot that Dhruv is given in the end. He's in a thin white shirt. That's it. T-shirt.
There's nothing.
And it's extremely cold.
Right.
Then there is wind, and then there is a drone shot. So there is wind being pushed through the drone that's hitting Dhruv. Oh my god!
Yeah.
And at that height, the objective was clear. We wanted to make it happen.
Yeah.
How we go about it, and also I think the catch was, it's very easy to say when you have to push limits, but the question is how do you do it? It's that exact step that you do. That you have to step away from your instrument and think towards your song. Kaushik, for someone like Kaushik, has to step away from his notepad, his microphone, and think towards the song. It's a very different headspace. It's a very different mind frame. It's a very different mentality that you approach the same song, because you're not close to your comfort zone of, hey, you know, this is my bubble, this is my room, this is my studio, this is my speaker, this is my microphone, nothing. and you're going back to a song, and you're going back to a storyboard, a format that, you know, okay, if this is the kind of language that we want to bring out, this is the kind of visual that we want to show to people, is it really making sense? Is it worth the time?
Absolutely.
Is it worth the effort? You got to realize, in 2019, once the song was done, we had an option of releasing the song. The question that kept coming back at us, that do we want to do it, or let's just wait for the time when once it's visually ready for people to understand that, man, if we are here together, this is what we want to do. Let's give people the complete picture of what we are trying to put out. It definitely takes a lot of time.
Absolutely.
But I think it's worth it, because it's something that we both want to do it from the absolute corner of our heart. We want to bring it out. We want to speak this language. And this is the kind of vacuum that we see is there in today's music. So how can we fulfill? How can we make it happen? And I think Khoye Pal is just that perfect example of what Eeshan Kaushik are intended to do, what we are here for. And yeah, man,
Absolutely.
I mean, this is how we've raised our own stakes in a way, and we want to take it much further in our career ahead, much further.
Yeah.
Visual discussion of, okay, what are we seeing when you play a C major, when you play an F major, the minute you add an F added ninth, what do you start to see?
Right.
What is it that's that visual story that you're getting in your head? And I think that is the crux of the way we somehow approach our songs. And the fun happens the minute you start to build on it, the minute you start to build onto the story. If you want to communicate a similar story, can we take a different route altogether and put the point across as a story that is intriguing, as a story that's challenging, as a story that's awkward? It just makes you awkward. That, my God, what's been happening? So I think somewhere there's a good connect that people have enjoyed with the song. It's a great feeling, because I mean, man, why wouldn't, at the end of the day, if a song is written by someone, you would want people to hear it, right?
Yeah.
And if there's a legit connection somehow, I think it's a good encouragement to both of us that, man, I think there is something that we should do and fill that vacuum up with our style of songs and bring it out to people.
Right. I would just, genuinely like to thank you all, and it's truly been an immense pleasure. Thank you so much. And I'm
Thank
really
you so
looking
much.
forward to
Thank
hear
you so
so
much.
much more from you all.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. We are excited too.
Thanks for having us, man. Thanks for having us and
Yeah.
hearing the story.
Thank you so much for having us.
Always.
It's great to always come down and talk to you and Beat Curry and like to talk about the song, man. So cheers to that, and good luck to you, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, you guys, for watching this video. I hope you all had a lovely time listening to this podcast. If you like this video and you would like to see more such stuff, make sure you subscribe to our channel, follow us on our social media. The links are in the description below. Stay tuned, and I will see you next time.